see Nonprofit TV. This is the community give back arm of PSI TV. PSI TV gives a small business a big presence. And today we are talking with our featured nonprofit, and we're speaking with their director, Rodnisha Ross. And she is an author and entrepreneur, and guess what? She started her working career as the youngest full-time photographer on staff with the Detroit Free Press newspaper. She is the founder of our Spotlight nonprofit today, Youth Community Agency. Rodnisha, welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, sweet. So tell us a little bit about the mission of Youth Community Agency.
At Youth Community Agency, we mentor teenage moms, and we do our best to curb homelessness and also community outreach. And that's been our focus. We wanted to make sure that we didn't forget about the people who are not necessarily in the spotlight. I know a lot of people don't typically like to talk about teenage pregnancy, but it was one thing that I also seen that a lot of people didn't help. So we kind of wanted to fix this demographics and give them their second chance. That's really, really what we do here.
Well, that's very awesome and very needed. So tell me, it's kind of coming through your mission, but just give us a little bit more depth as to why this mission matters and why you are so passionate about investing your energy in this.
This is passionate for me because I think that because it starts with the youth. If they were given the opportunity to have that second chance, they can become greater mothers, greater people, no matter what their circumstance is. I just think that everybody deserves a second chance, no matter what they may have been through. And then I think it's also passionate to me as well too, because like I said, it's a situation where we were initially going after youth when it comes to that thing of being able to educate them and do community activities. But we actually had a situation where a young lady had to basically go away because she was expecting and come back like nothing ever happened. And that hurt me a little bit because just because there was a mistake or, something that was unexpected that happened, she shouldn't have had to be shunned that way and basically disregarded. And I'm a mother, and I was not a teenage mother. My mother was, my mother was. So I didn't even really put the two and two together. I just knew I couldn't imagine trying to be a parent, at such a young age and not necessarily have someone that would be compassionate enough to say, you know what, we all make mistakes. How we get up is how your outcome looks.
Amazing, amazing. So clearly, it's kind of clear who benefits from the work of this organization, but just kind of expand on the benefits of working with the organization for me.
So as far as the benefits, not just the teenage moms, that was a very good question, absolutely, thank you. Not just the teenage moms, but we also do community outreach in the Cass Corridor area in downtown Detroit. So we usually take at least 1 or 2 holidays per year where we are actually, spending our relationship time, getting to know these people, not necessarily, hey, here's a lunch, that's it. We are actually coming out on the 4th of July. We are actually giving them lunch, and we're actually fellowshipping with them and letting them know to say, hey, again, here's a second chance. We may not be able to solve all of your problems, all of your issues, but here is a hand that you can at least get through this moment in time. And aside from the teenage moms, the homeless people in the Cass Corridor area, we also do just general community outreach when it comes to volunteering and also collaborating with other organizations to make their mission work. That's really, really huge in my eyes. I don't think that one person creates a success. I think that it has something to do with at least one other person.
Okay, so there's volunteers that help out in this organization as well. So then I guess that these young ladies would have new relationships that they probably wouldn't have had before, in addition to the help that you give them.
Exactly. And not necessarily from a one-sided space that says, I can only educate you Monday through Friday on geometry.
Right, because sometimes that's what they need. They need to know that there is someone who's got their back, who cares and is looking out for them. Okay, so awesome. So when a volunteer, a donor, a pregnant teen connects with your nonprofit, what can they expect? What can they look forward to? If you have to break it into the different groups, what can they look forward to in working with you?
So the process for us is whether or not it's a teenage mom or someone that needs resources, we do it through a client intake system so that if we don't have exactly what you need in the capacity of maybe 5 out of 10 things, we have collaborations and partnerships to make sure that we help you meet whatever those needs are. So it's as simple as doing the client intake, seeing what it is that you need, directing you in the right direction if it's something that we can't immediately help you with. But I'll give you a good example. So we actually just got our first home for the teenage moms and also youth as well. And we have a couple of different emergency placements that's coming in, but we wanted to make sure that it wasn't necessarily like a thing where they would just be living in the house, but we don't want you to stay in this space. We want to make sure that you're growing and that you're learning different things so that as you begin to say, hey, you know what, I've been here 6 months, I want to work on having a career that I can afford to live on my own. So I think that's really the concept of what we're trying to make sure that we do, that it's not just like a phase one and then that's it. We want to make sure that we're putting and positioning people with the resources so that they can become career oriented, and then also to learn different values in life that some people may not have learned until they were 25 or 30. And I feel like if we can catch them at a young age, we can change it. We can change the game a lot, like a huge bit.
Yeah, I know that transition is key because I've done a lot of work in transition situations, and once they've had that baby, they've come out of the regular school system. They're that whole transition back into, okay, what's next for me can be kind of a bit scary. But what about the volunteers and any donors that want to participate? What would that look like for them?
So we have a couple of different capacities that people can either donate their time or their finances, or from a monetary standpoint. So we actually just had a Zoom meeting. I think it was about a week or so ago, just introducing people to what we need. And it's a simple process. If someone wants to volunteer, we have a tab on our website at youthcommunityagency.org where they can say, hey, you know what, I want to volunteer, or I want to be a board member, because that's where we're coming up on as far as our election goes for September as well too. And then from a financial standpoint of supporting, we also have the donation option on our website. And what that could look like is either doing a monthly dedication or commitment, or just doing it where we have the events and being a sponsor. Or one of our biggest events that we have is we do an annual gala. And a lot of people really enjoy being able to come out, get dressed up, and also a great networking tool. That was one of the feedbacks that we got from last year for our gala.
Great. So if a sponsor was watching this, at some point, because this is going to be on TV as we talked about it, how could they contribute to the future dream? I know, you said you're talking about some of the things you need. Well, share with, some of the more evergreen things that don't, you need for just tomorrow, but not next week. What are some of the more evergreen things that someone could possibly help your organization with?
I think the two prominent needs that we have done after strategically searching and doing our research with what the need is, it would be our housing component. We actually have 3 different stages of our housing component, which we recently just accomplished that with getting our first home for the organization. But the second phase, as I was sharing with you, was that then that would be them either moving out of the temporary home where they have just associated rooms to possibly an apartment, or even apartment building was a conversation piece that we had about 2 months ago, getting like a 4 to 6 unit, so that's where we will be able to offer subsidized living. And then from there, the third phase or the final phase would be allowing them to become a homeowner. And all throughout this process, we would have them to go step by step with workshops, education, all those different things to financially prepare them, not only to get the property or get into that place, but to keep it. Because budgeting, even if I gave you $1,000, that doesn't mean that you know what to do with it, So the housing piece is probably at the top of our list. And that would benefit young moms to be able to have that second chance to say, my budget is together because I'm getting the education. That's one. And then two, I'm creating a stable and safe environment for me and my child. And I think the last piece will probably be transportation. That was one of the conversations that we had with our VP not too long ago, was to be able to have prominent transportation. So if we can hire someone or create that space in our budget to have maybe like a van or something that we can make sure that they get to and from work, or even an option to partner with Lyft to make sure that they can get to their doctor's appointments if they don't have transportation, and things like that, to get to those prominent places.
Okay, perfect. So I know you mentioned the website once or twice, but just again, share, how can people connect with you?
Yes, so they can actually log onto our website at www.youthcommunityagency.org.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we go, Rodnisha?
Thank you for having me. And I think this is an amazing tool to really create a platform for nonprofits. This is definitely a blessing, because I don't think that there's enough outlets for positive things, and for funders or, for donors to look to say, hey, that's a great opportunity. I wouldn't have never known that if I never knew anything about PSI TV, So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, one of our goals is to really encourage more for-profit organizations to move or to expand their philanthropy. And we felt like this was one great way to help move that along. So thanks for saying that, Rodnisha. Well, we really appreciate you being with us today. Our guest was Rodnisha Ross, and she is with Youth Community Agency. Thank you, Rodnisha. And check us out on 501c Nonprofit TV if you have a Roku or Amazon TV. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.